And we're back. Welcome to another episode of Successful Marketing, Sales, and Relationships for Small Business Owners and Entrepreneurs, where we work primarily with small business owners who primarily work by themselves to help them turn really great ideas into really great businesses that feed them and their family. I am your host, best-selling author Sidon Long, and it's Monday. Hey man, we're in the second half of the year. We're in the second month of the second half of the year. Time to start getting ready for Christmas. So if you are looking for someone who can help you have a better second half of the year than the first half, make sure you go over to growtherich.com and click the Fast Cash button because that's going to get you a free 30 with me, best-selling author Sidon Long, whose work has helped small business owners generate incomes well up into the eight figures and counting. So without further ado, let us talk about our topic for today. And our topic for today is dating. You know, as somebody who's an entrepreneur and who spends a lot of time with entrepreneurs and people who aren't as well, the number one topic you'd think would be sales, but it really isn't. The number one topic is how to keep our relationships, you know, how to keep our friendships, how to keep our romantic relationships, our situationships, our marriages. Because unlike someone who works a 9 to 5 and gets a check every 2 weeks, and isn't responsible for anything other than themselves, entrepreneurs have a whole lot of other stuff on their plate. If somebody calls off and you have a small team, means you got to work. It means you got to fill those orders. It means you got to run that counter. It means you got to serve those clients. You know, if something breaks, that means you might have to cancel your vacation. It means you might have to redo your budget. It means you might have to go without something. You know, and because of that, it makes it really hard to plan a date. Makes it really hard to be on a date because even if you're on a date, you're still thinking about all the other things you have to do. So now you're sitting across from someone and they're looking at you like, hey, snap out of it. And you're like, if you only knew what I was dealing with, if you only knew what I was going through, if you only knew what my um, bank account looked like or what my forecast for sales looked like for the next couple months, you wouldn't be telling me to snap out of it. So with that being said, it makes it really hard because on the outside, you are probably being seen because of your promotion, because of your advertising, as somebody who has a lot of money, as somebody who has it all together, as someone who has um, this really great lifestyle. And a lot of times, you really don't, because you're running a business. And if your business doesn't have great employees, and your business doesn't have cash reserves, your business doesn't have lines of credit, and your business doesn't have um, huge, you know, tons of cash being pushed into it through credit cards, through credit lines of credit, through grants, through sales, you're probably struggling. And who wants to sit across from somebody they like and wants to feel as though they're impressing them and say, hey man, you know what? I'm probably gonna have to close. I'm probably gonna have to go back to get a 9 to 5. And the cool thing about it is that when we have these conversations, the very next conversation we have is how we can change that. How we can get sales, how we can raise our price, how we can, get access to credit, how we can get access to grant money, free money. So the dating really is the thing, man, for a lot of entrepreneurs that's driving them to be successful because they want to take care of their families, right? You want to take care of your family. You want to be the mom, the daughter, the spouse, the partner, the wife, the mother. You know, and sales is going to help you do that. So even though we have these difficult conversations, Very difficult conversations about dating and about people wanting to take vacations, and you just can't see giving up that type of money to go on vacation. Yeah, I get it. But what it does is, man, is it forces us to A, reevaluate whether or not we want to be in business. B, how well our business is really doing. C, can we really do better than what we're doing right now? And if not, is this the right decision to be in business? So, yeah, all those things come into play. Tuition this time of year comes into play for business owners. If you got a kid in college, man, you paying tuition, or you're paying their rent, or you just had to buy books. Successful business owners do that with no problem. Business owners who are struggling with sales, they try to put it on a credit card. But what if you maxed out all your credit cards trying to keep your business afloat? Then what do you do? That's why we work with grown folks. So, number one, for you sitting at home and you thinking you want to date a boss, you want to date an entrepreneur, um, you want to date a business owner, number one, do realize that that person that's the head of that company that you're sitting across from, they're responsible for payroll, they're responsible for the marketing budget, they're responsible for light, gas, rent, supplies, repairs, insurance. They're responsible for all those things on top of their lifestyle, on top of their responsibilities to their family, on top of their responsibilities to themselves. You know, student loans, car notes, health insurance. So when you're thinking about dating an entrepreneur, or you're thinking about dating someone who is a business owner, do understand that they have twice as much on their plate. Number one. Number two, if you're dating a small business owner and they don't have employees, or they're talking about their employees, or they're saying they need new employees, they probably don't have a lot of time. You know, because when you're a successful business owner and you're new, you're gonna make a lot of bad hires. Why? Because you assume that people are a lot better than they really are. You look at resumes, you're like, well, they got a master's degree. You look at work experience and say, okay, well, they've done this before. But you don't really know how good a person is or isn't when they work for you. Here's what I mean. You could have had someone on your team who, when they worked for whatever company they worked for before you, they were so afraid of that company, you know, the brand that is whatever company they work for. If they worked for Ford, they were so afraid of the big machine that was Ford that the supervisor that was supervising them and the direct report that they were reporting to could terrorize them into doing a good job. You know, if you worked in a hospital, you were so afraid of the hospital system that you did a good job. Now, that same person comes to work for you. They have to have a healthy level of respect and fear of you in order to still work at that level. When I sit down with clients and we talk about their teams and we talk about their productivity, oftentimes what I find out is that most business owners who are very new to the game are in abusive relationships with their employees. They're doing things and pulling things and making excuses that they would never make if they worked for one of these Fortune 500 companies, that they never made when they worked for these Fortune 500 companies. But because they work for you, oh man, I'm just a little late. But because they work for you, now it's harder to get things done. Because they work for you, now the excuses come. And if you're new to the game, you accept those excuses. But the reality is, what they're doing is keeping you from taking care of this huge plate of obligations that you have. So for the person sitting across from them, do realize that if they're complaining about those employees are stealing from them. You know, I'll give you a prime example. You know, talked to a client the other day. He was talking about his marketing people and that his results were poor. And he said, well, people just aren't buying. When they had the PPP loans, and people were getting stimulus checks. People were buying in, and people just aren't buying now. And I was like, I call BS. The same problems still exist that existed 3 years ago. The same desires and needs still exist that existed 3 years ago. So if the problem still exists and the desire to solve that problem still exists, then there are still sales to be had. You know, grass still grows in 2024 just like it did in 2020. You know, cars still break down just like they did in 2020. People still getting sick just like they did in 2020. People still hate their jobs just like they did in 2020. So for his marketing guy to sit there and say, well, hey, man, it's not working because the people aren't buying. New business owner goes with that and says, that sounds like a good reason why our sales are down. Now, mind you, marketing person ain't taking a pay cut, still want their money. But now they want you to accept a lesser result. Even though nothing's changed from 2020 to 24. People still need the same thing that they needed 4 years ago. So now the question is, how are we making the adjustments that there's no stimulus checks and PPP loans? How are we getting better at our communication? Are we saying the right things to make people want to buy from us, to make people trust us? Are we reaching out with the level of frequency we need to in order to get people's attention? Are we looking at all the possible avenues, or are we just looking at social media? Are we doing everything we possibly can to get you a sale? And when you're new, you don't even know that you're supposed to be asking these questions. And when you're dating that person, understand that they're new and they don't know. So before you start planning your future with somebody who doesn't know how to properly hire, train, develop, terminate employees, watch this video, share these clips so that you guys can have conversations about it and be like, well, I was talking to him the other day and he was telling me how old girl keeps showing up late. And I was like, well, damn, why don't you fire her? But he keep giving her another chance. Huge red flag. Not the person you want to date. Not the person you want to date, not the person you want to be. So, again, understand that. They got a lot on their plate. They're very inexperienced at being an executive. If something goes wrong, they're going to be in a bad situation. So before you hitch your wagon to them, understand what you're hitching your wagon to. Yeah. Number 3, if it's going bad, they're going to be very distracted. Yeah. Not only because they are trying to figure out how to get it from going bad, but their whole livelihood is riding on it. You know, if you're a business owner and you had to start it with your own money, which somewhere between 64 and 70% of small business owners do, you're losing everything if that business goes under. You're losing everything if you can't get any sales. You're losing everything if you can't keep your customers. You're losing everything. House, cars, lifestyle, and all the pain that comes with losing that stuff, you're gonna feel. If you're a business owner who started it with other people's money, now you're going to lose it, but then you're going to be in such a bad position that you'll never be able to do it again. Because who's going to loan somebody money again who lost all the last investor's money? You know? So, of course, that is weighing on their mind. And because that's weighing on their mind, they don't really have time to focus on you. You know, they're trying to save their family. They're trying to save themselves. So now when it comes to priorities, it's I need to get up and get out here and get these things done. Why? Because the people that they're hiring can't get them done because they're not making enough money to hire good people. You know, and the people who could get them done, they're not new, they're not experienced enough as CEOs to hold them fully accountable. You know, especially if you're someone who's using nieces and nephews and godkids and kids from the church and neighbors and sisters and aunties and mamas. How accountable can you or are you really going to hold them? You know, if you have a aunt who comes down a couple days a week, try to help you out, she feel like she doing you a favor. Can't yell at her. You can't go to her and say, hey, I know, you probably ain't paying attention, but, you just let 3 customers walk out the door. You know, are you really going to be able to chastise your kids and train them up and get them to do what you need them to do? Or do you need to go find qualified people who want to be partners in this, in the sense that they want to share in the good fortune that comes from you building this great business. They want to grow with this business. They see this business as partially their business. Because if you get those people, they'll let you go out on a date. They'll let you have some fun. They'll let you go sit in the back and kiki with your girlfriend a little bit. Why? Because they got it. Don't worry about it, boss. I got you. Don't worry about it, ma'am. I'm going to handle this. So now you can go on an ice cream date. Now you can go on a walk. Now you can go handle other business. You know, but if you're the person sitting at home, you're probably going, I never looked at it like this. Yeah, because you've probably never been around somebody who told you the truth. But I'm telling you, if you hear him complaining, it's a red flag. Yeah. And another huge red flag, when you're dating a business owner, when you're dating an entrepreneur, when you're dating a quote unquote boss, if they never talk about sales. If you're sitting across from someone and they're never talking about closing the deal, they're never talking about how much they made on a deal, they're never talking about any deals that they've done in the last few months, huge red flag. Because when people hit a lick, they talk about it. Man, just closed this real big deal, man. 300,000. We just got a contract with the city, 250,000. Man, just got a new investor. He put another 80,000. They talk about it. They're excited. Man, sales are up this week. We balling. We killing. We rolling. Man, the place was packed today. We did more today than we ever did before. If you're not hearing those kind of conversations out of your friends, out of the people you date, there's a strong possibility that business is going out of business and it is dying slowly. Because when people are happy about what's going on in their business, they talk about it. So if you're sitting across from one and you're thinking about being with somebody, and they're not talking about the sales and the positive things that are going on, then there probably aren't any positive things to talk about. Factual. So you say, well, what should you do? Well, if you start to hear any of these red flags when you're dating an entrepreneur, you should give them some space. I'm not saying you shouldn't date them. You just give them a little space to handle their business. You should set your expectations that maybe we won't be able to take a vacation. Maybe we won't be able to drop $300 on a meal in the middle of the week. So give them some space, recalibrate your expectations, and then the third thing is figure out what you can do to help them if you really want to be with them. You know, maybe you can go down there and help them keep the store afloat. Maybe you can help them cut some of these yards. Maybe you can help them with their books. Maybe you could do something to take some of the stress off them. So when they finally do make it, they look at you as a helpmate and not somebody that's just another bill. So that's the thing. Now, if that doesn't suit you and you're not in for, being a part of the business and really trying to help them grind up, be honest about it. Be upfront about it. Say, hey, man, I really don't think this is a good fit. Um, I wish you all, the best in your future endeavors, but I don't think I can do this. You know, but now you understand why they're not calling you back, why they're ghosting you, why they're preoccupied in the meals, why, things are happening the way they're happening. And if you see them happening, then you just have to choose to move back away from it. You know, and when you move back away from it, both of you will be happy. They'll be happy because they won't have the pressure of trying to figure out where they're going to get this money from to keep entertaining you, and you won't have the frustration of not being entertained to the level that you like to be entertained to. Oh, and the third thing is that, man, you could just start paying for some of this stuff yourself. You know, but if that's not really what you want to do, that's fine. But if you think enough of them and you think they're worthy of it and you see a future with them and you think that, hey, man, I believe in their work and their work ethic. I think they got a great idea and I see them trending in the right direction. And you're willing to front some of the financial burden for a little while in exchange for getting a partner that you really see yourself being with long term, that's okay too. But again, the reasons that things are happening the way that they're happening is number one, because of sales. Two, because they don't have people. Three, because, man, they're probably in a position where they can't figure it out or see it. And if they can't figure it out or see it, man, just share this video with them. You know, turn them on to me. Send them over to growingrich.com. And we'll allow them to use our team, our experience, our expertise in getting customers and keeping customers and raising our prices without losing customers. We got a proven track record of doing it. Our name is good in these streets. So if you have somebody you do love, send them over there to us. Especially if you see them as someone you want to be with long term, whether it is male or female. You know, Bruh, if you sitting there and you looking at her going, man, shorty working real hard, but ain't nobody buying her stuff. Send her to growingrich.com. If you see your man and you like, man, I know he could do this. It just, I don't, maybe he just needs some help. Send him to me. We're not going to shame him. We're not going to embarrass him. We're going to help him. Just like we've helped so many people before him. Get out of abusive relationships with their employees and finally start hiring people and holding people accountable in a way that makes them want to do a good job. We'll show them how to actually get traffic without just using the internet, because there are more ways to get traffic than just the internet. We'll show them how to do it so they can then start getting people who actually want to give them some money and not just waste their time. And then we'll show them how to charge a price that allows them to have enough money left over to pay bills at home, have some money left over to put into a rainy day fund, and start to be the type of spouse or potential spouse that you need them to be. And we'll show them how to keep customers. Because the four things that make a business move in a positive direction are traffic, which is people coming into the business; conversion, which is people who come into the business actually buying something; pricing, which is people buying something in your business at a price that allows you to have enough money left over to do the things you need to do; and churn, which is being able to keep those people buying longer. And if you're dealing with me, we take it to a whole nother level because we take those four things and then we tack on making them a promoter and a referral source. So now we got the four that move plus two. You know, because now we teach you how to turn testimonials into an attraction device to get more customers. You know, now we teach you how to serve your customers at such a high level that they demand other people to work with you, other people to work with you. You know, so if you're in a situation right now where you're looking at your spouse or you're looking at yourself going, I really need this. I really need it. Go over to groundandrich.com. You know, right now we're having save your season and save your business sessions. You know, some people just need to save the season. Other people need to save the business altogether. You know, so in either case, going over to groundandrich.com. You know, this has been another episode of Successful Marketing, Sales, and Relationships for Small Business Owners. I'm your business big bro, Sinan Long, aka Most Dangerous Man in Marketing, aka Mr. Better Than Your 401k. It is Monday. Let's go out there and get them. I tried to do this early enough that you can listen to it on your way to work or before work. And hopefully, prayerfully, today is a good day for you. Somebody calls you back and tell you they got some money for you. Somebody calls you back and tells you that they're ready to buy. Somebody calls you back and says they got a referral for you. You know, so that is my prayer for you. That is my belief that God is going to do for you. If you're watching this, this is not by coincidence. So therefore, go over to groundandrich.com because it's meant for us to work together. As always, man, I love you. Have a great day. I'm out.